the big money isn't coming right away. You have to work to it. You have to build the reputation for it,
Yeah.
that you have an established business for people to take you seriously. And you don't need like the top of the line camera, the top of the line lens to right off
Yeah.
the bat. And I think people shoot themselves in the foot when they think that way. They think I need the best camera, the best lens, the best. No, you just need a heart behind it. Like I've
Mm.
seen some amazing photographers start out with just like a $400 or $500 camera, and they've built the business, and then they were able to invest back into the business from what little business they were able to get. So think about it that way. How can I get started? Is whatever money you make from your business starting out, invest it right back into it. You're gonna eventually upgrade, eventually start getting the good camera and stuff like that. But you can't do that without first knowing that there is a passion behind it.
Welcome to The Right Fit. Today, we're joined by Gricel Rivera, an incredible photographer who has turned capturing life's most meaningful moments with elegance and intention into a thriving business known as Gricel's Photography. Although she earned a degree in mechanical engineering and worked in that field for several years, photography ultimately turned into a full-time, and she hasn't looked back since. Today, she specializes in maternity, family, and branding photography, creating unique connections with every client she works with. So, Gricel, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you on. I'd like to jump right into things. And obviously, in that intro, I mentioned mechanical engineering. So, I'm always curious when people bring up their past and how that translates into where they are today. Has mechanical engineering had all connected with what you do or influence what you do today?
I think in some aspect it has. So, first of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate you putting me on the show. But yeah, mechanical engineering has somewhat wired my brain to be a little bit more like analytical on the framing of my photos. So whether it's like symmetry or leading lines, like all of those artistic things that people talk about when they're learning photography, that was already ingrained in me in like some aspect because of engineering. So putting things together and all of that stuff. But for me, it's in the creative side of putting the photo together, creating that. So in some way, I do feel that I have used that STEM side of my brain for my creative side. So yeah.
That's amazing. And I'm going to be really honest. When I think of a mechanical engineer, I don't think of creativity. Sorry. It's like, when I went back in the day when my friends were in school going to like NJIT or some of these schools for engineering, it was like they're showing me pages and pages of math equations and all these things that I'm not thinking artistic stuff like photo. So like I was super curious in that one, especially having engineer friends.
Of course. Yeah. And I went to NJT, so good point. Yeah, I graduated in 2010, but I just feel like I was in a sense like exposed to that environment all of my life. Hey, you're good at math, you're good in science. This is where your path should lead. It wasn't until I was in college and it picked up a camera then able to explore the creative side of myself. I always said like I'm good at math, I'm good in with numbers and all of that stuff. It's easy for me to pick these things up that I never had the opportunity to like just color or draw for just creativity purposes. And then when I picked up a camera and I saw what I was able to produce, it tapped into a whole nother world for me. So I not necessarily like tied in, but I think that I was given an outlet at later point in my life.
So it was like a little hobby that you picked up that opened up obviously a big avenue for you, maybe not knowing it back then, but that's amazing that you gave yourself that opportunity or that chance to even say, I'm going to try this thing and have a little fun with it. I mean, what'd you have to lose, right?
Exactly. And it started off with just classmates, friends, and
Yeah.
hey, my friend is having her sweet 16, my friend's sister's having a sweet 16, and that's how it started. So yes.
That's so crazy. And I honestly interesting in the sense of when you mentioned the whole like this is what you're good at type of thing, how that sometimes shapes you. So for example, this is a fun fact that not many people know. I was really, really good at math too growing up. Like in 8th grade, I went to the math Olympics. Like I was one of those kids, right? And looking back at it, it was kind of like, hey, you're studious, you're this, you should go do that. And you start thinking, okay, I guess I should do this or I should do that, right? And sometimes you're not listening to other pieces of yourself, right? Well, now I'm a DJ. I don't really use any of that stuff, but not to say that it wasn't worth the journey, but it's interesting sometimes how we kind of and it's not a bad thing. Sometimes we fall into like little molds just because, we're around people who think, this is what's best for us. And like, okay, we're gonna listen to that and kind of go with it. But you had that itch.
Right.
You had the itch somewhere in there and you kept scratching it
Right.
and honestly, wow, I'm so amazed that it turned to something so amazing. I've been following your journey for quite some time, and I've had the honor to work with you. But that also makes me think of where I connected with you first, which was
What?
weddings.
Yeah.
And there's been an evolution within the evolution because not only were you engineer, but you also focused a lot on weddings. And now you're more into the studio work. I don't know if that's the proper term. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
You're right.
eh, uh,
I don't know a
you're more,
proper term either.
yeah, portrait photography or studio. I don't know, whatever you might label it. But yeah. So tell us about that evolution because it's almost kind of like you're ready to, let's call it a risk, a leap of faith to do something outside of what you put your time and effort into going to school to be an engineer. So that was a risk. And now you're saying, I'm going to do another risk and leave weddings behind and do this other thing. I
Yeah.
need to hear that part.
It was a crazy transition. I didn't expect that transitioning out of weddings was going to be my story because even to this day, I can tell you that I love weddings. I love capturing weddings. I love the essence of what, it's the storytelling of it. So I still second shoot for other companies. So I do work with other companies and that's how I get my itch there.
Yeah.
Because like, hey, like I really have a passion for it. I realistically, as a mom, could not see myself doing this for the amount of time that I had already put into it. So I'll start with that. The fact that I still love weddings, I still capture them every once in a while is not my main source of income as you mentioned. I love studio work and what I can, control there as well. But I did not see that as part of my story. I started weddings, I'm gonna date myself now, 2011, 2012. So I started under another photographer. He kind of took me under his wing and had me like third shoot. And although he wasn't teaching me technical aspects of photography, one thing that I will credit him to this day is that he taught me how to interact with clients, how to get them to break out of maybe being stiff or something like that and just capture them. And that was for me like essential. Even to this day, I carry that with me. So that was the start of wedding photography for me. And then it just so happened that like my college friends and like people that I knew my network were getting married too. So it was like a perfect scenario where I wanted to focus on weddings. Weddings were starting to happen around me and I was just blessed enough to have that starting like the right foot on in the right place. So then from that, I expanded the business. My husband started shooting with me. He was my second shooter for a long time. So we were doing this together. And then eventually by 2019, I was already considering freeing up my schedule. My oldest was 3 or 4 years old and I felt like most of our weekends were being sacrificed to shoot weddings. So I couldn't see myself spending Friday, Saturday, Sundays out and then not spending that time with my child. And lo and behold, I found out I was pregnant in 2019. So
Oof.
yeah, so then that was like baby number two. So I'm like, this is my chance to figure out what exactly I want to do. And I'm going to be completely honest, maternity was not in that picture at all. I took a lighting course, a studio lighting course in the city. And it just so happened to be for maternity photographers. But I told myself, I'm like, I'm just going to capture engagement sessions in the studio or like headshots. But most of my brides were getting pregnant. So guess what? It was another good segue there.
What? Man, the perfect storm
The
for sure.
perfect storm. So most of my brides who I built a great relationship with and I cherish that they were telling me they were pregnant. I'm like, hey, I'm starting to do studio work. Do you want to come into my studio? And yeah, I started like my studio was way smaller than the one I currently have now. So it was like a little shoebox. But it did work. And yeah, that's how I started segueing into maternity. But the whole essence was because I was pregnant. I wanted to free up my schedule and my brides were also already getting pregnant. So it was just like one thing led to another, and always feel like this is just a divine blessing. Like, the Lord has like really like put my path forward, like He made my path, and I just need to trust and just go through it. So that was, yeah.
And you've been going through it, and it's interesting because, when you're younger, I can't no longer process this question anymore, but it's kind of like, oh, like, where do you think you're going to be in the next 10 years? I mean, just listening to your story right now, I don't think you could have had all this pictured exactly how you're telling me it, right? You don't really know sometimes, but you follow the path, you put faith forward, it sounds like, and you just said, I'm going to put it in the hands of the person above and see where it goes. And look at you figuring out to, free up those weekends for your family, let your husband get back to doing maybe something he enjoys more than being a second shooter or not. I don't know if he enjoyed it, but you said he's not shooting anymore with you, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
no, it was never like he loved it. He loved the quality time we had with each other,
okay.
and he was great at it.
Uh,
But it was never his passion. It was more, hey, let me support you. In what way can I support you? Is coming alongside you. But it was once he tapped out, he's like, "That's it. I quit Gricel photography,
I'm
and
done.
I'm
Don't
done.
call me back.
Don't call me back." So I still shoot weddings, by the way. Like I have like a few bookings here and there. I
Okay.
don't advertise it like I once
Yeah.
upon a time did,
Right.
because again, the schedule aspect. But the ones that I do shoot, I hire a second shooter to come with me, so he's not with me at all.
That's funny. That's funny. I mean, look, people don't realize once again when you have a family and responsibilities like a significant other like your husband and your kids and so it's sacrifices. He was making sacrifices. You're making sacrifices. The kids, whether they know it or not, sometimes they're sacrificing time with mommy and dad. Whatever it is, we're always hopefully trying to work to find a better balance. And it sounds like the studio work has been that for you. But you mentioned something as you were speaking about, almost like these connections, which relates to kind of that intentionality perspective where you were able to have past brides also be current clients again when they got pregnant and stuff like that. What was that? I guess, was there a lesson that you learned throughout your career that helped you realize that connection and intentionality is, just as important as other parts of the business? Or like, where did that come about? Was that always from the get-go or did that grow with you along the way?
Right from the get go, like I mentioned, the seeing how the other photographer had been in business for such a long time, that really instilled something in me that was like, no one's gonna forget how you make them feel. No one's going to forget the experience that you gave them. And if you're a genuine person, like you genuinely care, not just about the money or what money you're making out of the whole transaction, is about how are you making their day memorable for them. For once upon a time, it was their wedding day. I wasn't just a photographer. I was their wedding planner, coordinator. If they didn't have one, like timeline keeper, a wrangler of people, right? Diffusing situations. Let's say someone was a little bit more excited. Like those happened, but it wasn't because I thought of more of myself than anybody else in that room. It was more because I wanted that couple, not just the bride. I wanted the couple to feel like, hey, today was easy. My photographer did not make me feel like I was working hard, and they were able to capture the whole essence of the day. And that translated into now here in the studio. I make sure that one, they feel pampered when they come in. It's an experience. It's
Mm.
not just, hey, come in, let me take your photos, let me take your money, and then you can go. No, I want them to feel beautiful. I want them to feel like, hey, we haven't done these family photos. It was a good experience. My kids were a little crazy, but she went well, whatever it is, right? So I want them to feel like that was worth it, right? And so it's how you genuinely care for someone, and it will translate in everything you do, the way you interact with the client, the way you deliver the products, the way you even at the bookings consultation. I've had clients tell me, wow, you actually took your time to explain the whole process versus like, hey, this is what it is, but you wanted to leave it and then that's it.
Right, right, right.
I actually had a client tell me that. She's like, "Hey, I actually booked you because you made me feel like I wasn't wasting your time." That's just how I feel, and that's how I think that the why the business has been open for so long, because of those little key moments.
Somebody was being rushed off the phone, or they just felt like a take it or leave it type of moment. Well, if you don't book me, it doesn't matter. Like all these stories that I hear from my clients as well. And since this show is essentially for, you could be in the wedding entertainment business. You could be just an entrepreneur along the way, whatever it may be. It's, hey, if you want to have a transactional business, I'm not saying you cannot have a transactional business. That could be your thing. But if you're trying to build something that is full of connection and longevity, then making a little effort, taking a little extra time, communicating with people, listening to them, right? Like sometimes all you got to do is listen, but nobody listens. Everybody's just like, and I literally talk to people like, I told this guy all these things, and you could tell just they didn't listen to anything that I said, because what they repeated back or what they emailed me back afterwards had nothing to do about the conversation. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like the obvious, but it's not. So I hope that people can kind of take that, what Gricel is talking about, and maybe if it's not a big part of your business, incorporate it in your business, because it is a game changer. And at the end of the day, you start also finding and connecting with the people who resonate with your work and what you do, because there might be some people who do not care about that. Let's be honest, Gricel. You might talk to people and they don't care about that. That's okay, because that probably is not your client either. So, you can't force that factor. I'm thinking about your story, your journey, and once again, connecting to entrepreneurs and people building businesses, and whether it's photography or any other avenues. I know we're not supposed to live in this space, so forgive me, but I'm going to use the F word and not the one you're thinking about, fear. We sometimes have fear that takes over our lives, our decisions, and what we do. Now, I'm not in your shoes, Gricel, but investing in saying, I don't know if you own it or if you lease it, but getting a studio, I don't know. Did it instill a little fear in you? And then getting a bigger one, or did you just be like, nah, I got it? Tell us about that.
So yeah, definitely fear was one of the words I used. The good thing about it was, again, the supportive husband. Shout out Danny, right?
Yes.
Because before I even quit my job as an engineer, I was running the business simultaneously, and it had grown to a certain extent. And I was very adamant about, at the time I knew nothing about like even leasing a space, a commercial space, right? What all the added fees there are and all this stuff, and renovating it and all this stuff. So I saw a place, turned the corner. I'm like, oh, it's nice, but it has a lot of work to do. And the lady was really kind. The next time, a month later, the place is still vacant, and it's right around the corner from my parents' house in Bloomfield. It was like, I'm like, this place keeps speaking to me. So then I ignored it one more time. One more month passes by. Now the lady put a sign up, and she said 3 months rent free, commercial space, blah blah blah. And I go back. This is like December, right before Christmas time. I remember exactly. And I told Danny, I'm like, if it's 3 months rent free, I got 3 months to get this place looking nice, and I can start like bringing people in and just booking or whatever, weddings and stuff like that. At the time it was weddings, right? And so then he finally said, it's a sign. And like I said, I'm a believer. So I definitely prayed about it and saw it as a sign as well. Like, hey, I saw the lady, I went in, and she's like, I remember you from a few months ago. She's like, whenever you're ready, like call me, like, well, let's do this. And I'm like, the rent is a little too high. Like, I'm not sure. I never had overhead before. And she's like, what's your price? And then I gave her a price, and she was okay with it. So it was just like all these things are happening, and I just see like it was a blessing, right? So then that was space number one. I was there for I want to say 4 or 5 years, and then my lease was up. I was outgrowing it because now I'm shooting inside of this little space that I converted into a studio. Before it was just a meeting space. Now it's like I'm trying to put up all these lights in there, and it's getting tight. This is 2019. No, COVID. COVID happened.
Wow.
COVID, yes. And I was ready to have my child, and I'm walking around pregnant looking for a location. And here we go. We find another place, but it doesn't go through. So I'm like, oh, it's not meant to be. Fine. I'll just keep my little space and I'll be fine. We drive by here in Nutley. And this place has been vacant for a long time because it was never actually like there's never been a business in here before. It was just used for like political campaigns and stuff like that. I've seen it.
I've seen those places. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So then I called a number and it's a sweet old man again. Like the older people, I love them. So then he's like, hey, what time do you want to come see this place? When I stepped in here, it looks way bigger than it can see from the outside. So, but immediately I'm just like, oh, this is it. This is it. I feel it in me. I'm like, this is it. And so again, this is COVID. A lot of places are like closed down. They're not open for business. And there was this fear because I'm not shooting weddings. They weren't rescheduled. They were postponed. And I'm going on a whim and just taking this leap. And of course, the supportive husband was there to like encourage me to once again.
You got to keep this guy around.
Yeah, he's a keeper for sure. But the landlord, again, same situation. He was like, tell me your price. And I was just like, okay. I'm like, and I told him my price and then he's like, we can do that. Let's make it happen. And I was just like, okay, I want to sign a certain term lease. I'm like, make sure I lock in at this rate because who knows what could happen in 2021, 2022. So then, yeah, I also feel like I said, it's just been like one thing over another where I've just handed my business over to God and then just believe that I'm covered.
Well,
Yeah.
it sounds like God got your back here because these scenarios not only happening once but twice is pretty wild. And just like the whole, hey, name your price, sure, we'll do. Like, I mean, yeah, that's a little rare the first time, but to happen 2 times, it was definitely meant to be. And hopefully gave you the peace of mind a little bit, right? You still had the overhead, but at least you went in a number that you felt more comfortable with versus something that you felt a little bit more hesitant on. And so now that's in the back of your head and you still got to run the business and do all these other things. So, and how long you been in the new space?
Since COVID, so 2020, so 6 years.
Wow, it's been that long? Why? I didn't feel like it's been shorter than that, man. Time. I feel like you just announced, hey, moving on to bigger space, like, a few years ago. Wow, so 6 years. Jeez, time flies.
I like what you said about the overhead though, because that's exactly what my husband was saying was, you haven't quit your job yet. Whatever income you're making from the photography is going straight back into this new overhead. So then now you know exactly how much you need so that you can quit your job. So, okay, like you have this already set amount of money coming out from your rent, from your utilities and all this stuff. So then that was already built in. So that made transitioning to quit a little bit easier because I already knew my overhead.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so you got lucky with that. I mean, they always say, right, run the numbers, but sometimes when you're a younger business owner, you don't even know what the numbers are, and sometimes you get some curveball numbers. So, but I think a part of it is if you go with some type of game plan. I'm not saying totally wing it, but or if like you prayed on it as well, whatever works for you, and it seemed to be working out. I'm sure not perfect, but you also adapt and figure things out as you go along the way. So you obviously still do weddings like you mentioned, but you also mentioned now you are a big part of capturing some other beautiful family moments in your studio, whether it's family photos, a maternity, which are amazing and huge milestones as well. But you've shouted out your husband a few times. You've also built your own family along the way, right? And it's grown, like you mentioned, with children. How many kids you have now?
I have 3.
3? Okay. Another one on the way? No?
No.
Oh,
We're done.
No, okay. I wanted to get some, juicy. You heard it here first? No, kidding.
Right?
She's like, nah, no, 3. 3. Sometimes husbands could be like child number 4, depending, us guys are big babies sometimes. Anyway, another podcast. How has now being a mother of 3, a wife, impacted your perspective? Because I do feel like perspective does change along the way. The young girl who was at NJIT without those responsibilities and all those things going on in her life to the person now, has that changed your perspective as a photographer, as somebody dealing with your clients, business perspective? How's that changed?
I mean, I don't know if the perspective has fully changed. I've always been just a hard worker in all aspects, but my time management skills have definitely, been altered because at the time when you're young and you don't have little ones to take care of, you can stay up till 5 in the morning, or like, you do whatever you want. Like, you can have a PB&J dinner. Like,
yeah, who cares?
perfectly fine. Who cares, right?
Right.
But here I am, like time management wise, I need to wake up a little bit earlier than them, maybe send out some emails, or like my boundaries have definitely defined themselves as I've, transitioned into being a mom. Setting boundaries was one of the biggest things for sure. I was answering emails at any day, any time. Now it's Monday through Friday, right? The weekends are what I actually proposed myself for it to be with my family. And so I definitely have those, like that perspective has changed. I'm making sure that, yes, I'm running the business well, but I'm also managing my family well. They need me, and there's a reason why I have done all these changes. And, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, you can set the schedule yourself. It's not, what I like to say is that the work is not optional. You have to get it done, but it is flexible. So whether you're going to get it done at 5 in the morning, or you're going to get it done when they go to sleep at 10 p.m., like we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
It's not, you're still going to get it done. So the mentality that being a business owner is like this whole, like, you can do whatever you want. Like, yes, but no.
You still got to get it done. Yeah.
Still got to get it done. You still got to hustle, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned something that's I think a forever, I guess you could say, journey too with a lot of entrepreneurs that I speak with, is creating boundaries, right? And sometimes those boundaries evolve and change as your life changes as well. And sometimes either the power of reminding yourself that you have to adhere to your own boundaries, right? Because sometimes it's setting boundaries, but then not that you see the email that came on the Saturday and you're like, nope, no, it's not until Monday. I'm not going to do it, because sometimes we're fighting our own, but boundaries that we set, we're fighting it, right? Not just the client. And there's so many things that you could do, but if you want to keep a healthy relationship with your business, because essentially you're going to have a relationship with your business, sometimes you could, I hear people that say, hey, it's sometimes you don't like it, or you're frustrated, or you might use the hate word, right? That's a powerful one, but because you are not creating these boundaries and or adhering to them. So now you're flustered, you're frustrated, you're overwhelmed, you're leading yourself to a spiral effect to burnout. And so I think I've had to do the same over the years. And I started creating little things. It sounds silly, but like an autoresponder. Hey, by the way, I'm a DJ. I'm out of the office Friday to Sunday because I'm probably DJing some type of event, right? And that's me setting some type of boundary, and also saying, when I get back to somebody on Monday, sometimes I'll send them a reminder as well. Hey, by the way, thanks for your patience here, but I was out this weekend. As much as I would love to get back to you, I was busy, and then sometimes, you have to remind yourself too, as a business owner, how would you feel if you hired somebody and they're working at the event that you hired them for, right? Like, I'm at somebody else's wedding, like responding to emails, like, you wouldn't want that either. So yeah, I think boundaries is very powerful in what you do. And then also just kind of figuring out what's important to you, right? Gricel, you're telling us the importance of your kids and your husband and spending time on the weekend. I think one of the last times I saw you out in public, I was actually DJing. It was a weekend, but you were out at an Easter thing, right?
Yes.
In Belleville, I think.
Yeah.
And so, but that was family time for you. For me, it was work time, but for you, it was family time. You're like, I'm out, I'm freezing my butt off here. I think it was a little chilly that day. Maybe it was just me. I was cold. And you're enjoying your family time, and that's healthy to keep you fresh and continue going for the weeks to come. I have a question for you. As your business has obviously evolved to a different sector, let's call it. For weddings, marketing has changed in general, right? But also probably when you were doing the wedding stuff, websites like the Nah and Wedding Wire were probably big. Where do you find people for maternity shoots or family portraits? Like, where does that come from? Is there a
That's,
website for that, or?
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's a good question, actually. So most of my clients are referrals. It started with my past brides, and then it continued, but most of them are coming through social media. Instagram, TikTok. TikTok has kind of blossomed in a sense where I wasn't expecting it. I still don't know what I'm doing there, guys. All right. So
Hey, just post, set it, forget it. Like,
I'm just posting whatever I post on Instagram, I'm posting there, and somehow it's getting some traction. So I am just trying and putting myself out there. But also Google has worked recently too, because I've been really honing in on SEO and understanding that a little bit better. So just kind of hitting all the social media marks, not just on like Instagram and TikTok, but going also into the Google world and blogging. Even though I'm not posting that, hey, my blog is live or anything like that, I am setting keywords so that people are finding my website a little bit easier. So those things have worked, but my number one way is referrals. Like people
Wow.
either tag me or collaborate with me on a post, and then their friends or cousins or something are seeing me. And again, that goes back to that experience, because if you give your client the best experience, they're going to rave about you. They're going to tell everybody. And, sometimes they won't even tag me, but they're definitely putting my name in the bucket or in the room, right? For me to get that business. So, and I appreciate that. I always appreciate that. But that's just been how I've been getting my business. Recently, I've been doing a lot more branding work. So working with businesses. I'm gonna be transparent. For a good number of people that I have photographed, I've reached out to them so that I can build that portfolio and you know, just kind of get more into my. Yeah, sorry.
I didn't get that DM. Damn.
Yeah, I'm on the side. Let's do it.
Damn. That's messed up.
But yeah, so I mean, that's kind of where I'm going with the studio work, doing some headshots, branding, family, and maternity. That's the three things that I want to focus on. So.
Nice. Yeah, no, it's good to have, the focus. You can't be jack of all trades. I mean, you could be, but, obviously something's going to suffer a struggle along the way. But at the end of the day, you need the business to come in. So I'm always curious, when I speak to business owners, how is the business coming in, or how are they maintaining that? And it's interesting too, because it's funny, that wave of weddings that you mentioned. I went through that phase where a lot of my peers, people around me, were in that getting married age. I've kind of got out of that. Right. I'm a millennial, but now I'm considered an older millennial. So now it's either the younger millennials or the Gen Zs are getting married. And so now it's also different age groups. And so how you staying connected with them or not, and keeping yourself out there. And I feel like, although referrals are amazing, and I love that for me and for you, it's also smart that you're still putting yourself out there on social media and other places where people are looking. And I don't know if I would gather that it goes for you too. I feel like when I talk to people, it's like, especially for photography and probably for video, like that's your portfolio at a glance. Like they're going on this page and saying, okay, this is what this person can do. They might go on your website, but they're probably still going on your social media. I guarantee.
Yeah, definitely. And they're looking at the portfolio and then getting inspiration too. So that definitely does help. Mm-hmm.
What would you say to the entrepreneur who keeps fighting social media?
You got to go with the wave, man. You have to go with the flow. Some people try to fight it, and if you try to fight it, you will get left behind. And the thing is that it can grow with, like, let's say I wasn't doing any content creation at all. I would probably still get business. Would I get as much business, or would I get, the amount of flow that I need to sustain my business? I don't think so. So I'm constantly pushing, and I'm constantly creating and doing whatever it is that I see out there. Oh, this is a cool idea. I like this real idea or something else. I put myself in front of the camera. I talk to my clients or the people, the followers or whatever on stories. And I'm not afraid to put my face out there, because one, people want to connect with you, and then they want to see your work too. But they want to connect with you. They want to know that, okay, she's likable, or like he looks fun. Like, that's why you put yourself out there as a DJ too. People want to know that who they're hiring as a DJ is going to be the life of the party, right? They're going to amp up the crowd, right? So then for me, it's the same thing. I want to make sure that they see who I am. They see that I'm relatable, and I can't do that if I'm pushing against the current here and like not following the trends or doing the little things. I will not dance though.
Yeah, you don't have to do it all, but
but I will do those little lip sync ones or all these little content creation things. Sure, I'll try it. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? It flops, okay. At least try.
Right. And I mean, you set your limit, right? Or your boundary, right? The word that we used before. You're like, okay, I am not going to dance, but like, I'll have some fun with it. I'll do X, Y, Z. But I think it's so important that people realize, especially now more than ever, when somebody is shopping a business, they want to see the person. They want to feel something. They want to connect with somebody, right? And I do the same thing. When I'm researching something, right? Let's say I'm researching a photographer and I go on the photographer's page and I can't find nothing about them. Like their work is great, but I can't see anything about them as a person, even if it's your highlights or your something. I'm already kind of like, the points are getting lost. And that's just for me as a consumer. And I'm not saying that goes for everybody, but I also think, how do I shop? Well, that's probably how my clients are shopping as well. They want to see, yes, that you're talented and maybe the service or your thing, but they want to know who they're working with the personality. So, I don't force anything. If I do something, it's who I am. If I want to throw my sense of humor out there, if I want to throw my mixing skills, if I want to do whatever, this is who I am, whether you like it. I've had wedding planners say, hey, I recommended you. The client went on your page. They weren't feeling it. And then I've had other people like, oh my God, this is the guy, or that's okay. Like, why force it?
Exactly.
Like it's going to go either way. It's your portfolio and not everybody's going to love it. But it's good that you're putting yourself out there. I'm proud of you because I talk to a lot of people, especially in our older millennial range, who are fighting it so much. And I'm like, look, I get it, but I don't get it in the sense of, yeah, you don't have to be like this crazy content creator, but you got to put something out there because people, that's where they are looking or where they're confirming or they're fact checking, whatever you want to call it. They're somehow landing on some type of social media. And I'll add this before we move on to the next topic. I have associate DJs that I offer sometimes when I'm unavailable, or maybe I'm outside of somebody's price range. First thing the client asks me, oh, okay, great. What's your social media?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't tell me how many deals we've lost to because of that as well. And once again, I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying these are people are shopping. So you do what you want with that information, do it or not do it. And I think once again, that the love that you're getting from the referral base is great, but you're also diversifying. You're not just leaning in on one thing because it could go either way. Social media could disappear tomorrow. Referrals can slow down tomorrow, right? You don't know. So you got to keep putting yourself out there.
One advice I would give before we move on
Yeah,
is
please.
that if you don't like it, just find an outside source that can help you with it. I mean, there's so many like content creators now that are willing to help. Maybe you need help creating reels or something like that. Hire someone to do that for you for your business. It's a great investment. So I always think about it as like, all right, there's one thing that I don't like about my business and I'm going to like invest in it so that it can make my business a little bit easier. All right. So whether it's making reels or making content for my page or whatever it is, then invest right into it. So
that's a great tip. Yes, I probably should have mentioned that too. Yes, you don't have to do it yourself. You could invest in it, hire somebody, outsource it, whatever you want to call it, because it's not everybody's strong suit. Not everybody knows how to do it. Not everybody wants to do it. But at the end of the day, it's a marketing tool that is important right now, 5 years, 2 years. I mean, it could change. But as of right now, the time of this recording, it is pretty important because I always ask clients either where did you find me or what helped you make a decision to work with me, XYZ. And a lot of times social media will come into the conversation. So, and like I said, this topic is coming up more too. And maybe we could talk about it as our next topic is, I don't know how this works for your business, but the generation is changing, right? It's becoming more of a Gen Z than a millennial. That once again, the millennial is kind of fading out and it's becoming Gen Zers who are doing more shopping as far as getting married. And eventually those are the same people who are getting pregnant. And so are you dealing with younger age groups now, or how has your business changed in that sense at all?
I haven't really noticed a change. I think
Okay.
that us millennials have waited a little bit longer to have kids. So
Facts.
because
Okay.
that part of my business, one, they're waiting longer to get married, and two, they're waiting longer to have kids. So I'm still in the older like millennial round. I'm not
Right.
Gen Z just yet. Maybe
Okay.
some. So I haven't really experienced a change, but I do know that photography style and what they're interested in, what they like. It's a little bit different. Like they like the blurry, they like the like faded looks. And I've noticed that. Will I change my photography style for a Gen Z? I don't think so. I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna just stick to what I love and what I love to create. Well, I do get artistic though. I do try artistic shots for all of my sessions. I tell them like, hey, we're gonna do what you want to do, but can you give me at least one look where I can just try something? And if you don't like it, you don't I'm not offended, but it's something for me to try and let me know if you like it. They 9 times out of 10, they end up loving it and they go more with those photos. But I like to just kind of get a little bit of a creative outlet and just kind of what I've seen trending or, I'll try it just to see how I like it too. And then we'll maybe
Yeah.
I'll add it to the workflow.
Maybe you got to be authentic to yourself, right? That's always the big thing. Stay true to yourself and what you do. Yeah, Gen Zs are, according to my last Google search, 14 to 29, and I feel like a lot of the couples that I'm DJing for are like late 20s, so they kind of fall in that Gen Z, like 20. They're like 27, 28, so they're kind of like in that range already. Do I do, like I said, the millennials? I still have some of those too, but it makes so much sense that millennials are waiting longer because they were finishing their career or getting married later, and essentially, it's so funny. I laugh because I went through this with my family. You're like 20 something. It's like, wait, you're not married, you don't have kids yet. Like, you're like damaged goods at that point. And then it's like, I didn't get married till I was in my 30s, and I didn't have kids till I was, so it makes a lot of sense for your business. So good to know. Valid point. But it will change in the coming years. So prepárate,
I know.
because
I'm like bracing myself right now. Oh no, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
they're what does they say? Main character energy for Gen Z.
Yes, for sure. But who knows where my photography may lead me
Yeah.
when that happens because, I never predicted I'd be in this situation when I
Right.
started this business. So
Who knows? And as your kids age too, things change with that as well. When they're either more independent or in different places. And, I don't want to say the college word, but you told me you had an 11-year-old. I'm over here thinking how like little tiny babies. I remember when you did have little tiny babies only. Man, that's wild. It's
oh yeah,
crazy how time flies.
I have a teen. That's great.
You have what?
A preteen.
Yeah. Yeah. That changes the game too. On this show, sometimes when I'm speaking to entrepreneurs, especially an experienced one like yourself, right? You have a few years. You kept dating yourself along this conversation a couple times, so you do have a few years in the game. But I'm always a big thinker of how can we help the people still coming up or getting started. What would you say to an aspiring entrepreneur, photographer, who's passionate about building a creative business such as yours, but they don't know exactly maybe where to start, or just to kind of, I don't know if you've been down this lane where it's like, especially now with social media, you see so many different things that it's like, what is it?
Information overload or
Yeah, it's like information overload, and like you just have so many things on the table, you can't even make a decision. You don't even know where to start. Any advice?
well, for photographer, my first advice, and I was just talking to someone who was asking me questions. They want to start a business, and I said, I'm like, just keep shooting. First, start shooting because you don't want this to be just for the money, right? So you want this to be your passion. You're not gonna fuel anything without passion behind it. Like you can't. Like you're gonna give out and you're gonna wear out. So I said, like, start shooting, shoot whatever you can at this moment, whether it's just like your like dog, whether it's just like outside stills in the park or whatever, candids, the street photography, whatever it is, just start there. And then eventually business wise, I tell them to start thinking of how they can make money, but not that they're making money right off the bat. Like the big money isn't coming right away. You have to work to it. You have to build the reputation for it.
Yeah.
That you have an established business for people to take you seriously. And you don't need like the top of the line camera, the top of the line lens to right off
Yeah.
the bat. And I think people shoot themselves in the foot when they think that way. They think I need the best camera, the best lens, the best. No, you just need a heart behind it. Like I've seen some amazing photographers start out with just like a $400 or $500 camera, and they've built the business, and then they were able to invest back into the business from what little business they were able to get. So think about it that way. Like how can I get started is whatever money you make from your business starting out, invest it right back into it. Like you're going to eventually upgrade, eventually, start getting the good camera and stuff like that. But you can't do that without first knowing that there is a passion behind it. If you think that I'm tired, I'm not going to go take pictures today, or I'm not going to like develop my craft, you're not looking at YouTube videos, you're not doing anything to feed into your knowledge, then there's no passion behind that. And there's like that's not going to sustain at all. So that's my advice to like, and I think that a lot of the Gen Z don't understand the hustle that we've had to do to get to this point and expect it to be at this level right away, right off the bat. So I always tell them like you gotta work hard, you gotta sacrifice sometimes, you gotta do what you need to do because all of that comes with building this business. Yeah. So
Amen to that, because the glitz and glamour and the success is a common trend that we see here, where that's what people are seeing with social media, right? But they didn't see the come up, the build up, the sacrifices, the weekends, the I can't go to this party, I can't go to this family event, XYZ. I've had a lot of DJs say, hey man, I want to work with you, I want to come. I'm like, all right, come on down. And then after a couple weekends, they're like, oh, I got this party I got to go to, I got this thing. And I'm like, all right, do your thing. But like, it's one or the, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, and that's, I'm not saying right or wrong. It's just once you're in it, then you start really realizing, okay, this is something I really enjoy so much that this doesn't matter. I'm willing to make this sacrifice. Or you know what? Maybe I didn't like it as much as I thought I did, right? Because like you mentioned the word sustainability, it's not going to be sustainable. You're not going to be able to do this for a long time. And I'm very proud to share, and I've shared this before, that there's very few things that I think about doing all the time, especially after I'm like exhausted after a weekend. And I could literally DJ an entire weekend, be exhausted, but on Monday, I'm still thinking about DJing because it's at a different part of my brain. It is literally something that is just part of me, what makes me happy, or creatively. Like, I don't know. I can get distracted on my phone, doom scrolling.
yeah.
But when I'm DJing, I don't think about my phone. I could literally go to another world. So I'm just saying what are signs for me that this is a passion. A sign for you could be differently. But when you start moving and acting differently, and like Gricel said, it's not just about how much money you can make out of it, then you know you got something. And then you're going to be able to not only sustain it, but also be able to attract clientele with it, right? Because when you're just doing it, that like the transactional thing that we spoke about earlier, it's going to be hard. People are going to catch on. They're like, this guy's just doing it for the money, or a girl's just doing it. They don't really care about this. They're just like, come on, just give me whatever, we'll do the shoot, and then that's it. Here's some pictures. I ran it through AI. Good night. And call it a day. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with AI, but I'm just saying like, it's just no effort, no love.
Exactly, no love. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do agree with you on that and the fact that early on in the business, you were talking about having someone shadow you or go with you, DJs, that you're offering them. I remember going with that photographer that I mentioned, and I would not even be shooting for her. I'm not even a second shooter. You just invite me. Oh, I have this wedding. I have this wedding. I have this wedding. You want to come? And I was there. I was like a sponge, like trying to soak it all in and just make it. And I wasn't getting paid for this. I was just going just to go and be exposed to that kind of work. And that's where passion lies. Like, you will see the sacrifices. A lot of people, like you said, see the glitz and glam of like, oh, they got it done. Oh, she has the studio. He has this. And they don't see that there were a lot of sacrifices that were made. There were times where I was like, it's easier to just go to my 9 to 5 right now. I'm an engineer, man. I could just easily be making a check and that's it. But there's
Steady.
exactly a steady check and go home and not take work with me. But there is a passion for this. There is like a love for this that I don't think that I can gain sitting in a cubicle for the next 20, 30 years to my life, right? So before I retire.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's I think very powerful to anybody starting out. Potentially just go out there, try it out, try different things, kind of take what you can get, so you can get that variety, feel whatever the craft is. It could be photo, could be video, could be DJing, could be whatever. Kind of get a real feel for it, and then really. Then you could start potentially building something out of it and see what lane you want to be in, right? Gricel still has a passion for weddings, but she found that studio work works best for her life. I know people who hate weddings, and that's just not their thing, whether it's a DJ or a photographer. I know some people who do video, but they just, I do film, I do interview, I do and they showed up at a wedding one day and they were miserable. And you could tell because all they were talking about is how they were a film. Like it was almost like beneath them that they were at this wedding right now. And I'm like, all right, dude, like, I don't think this is for you. Like maybe you're getting some money here, but like, please, I hope you retire tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable.
Exactly.
So typically on this show, we do what's called our little rapid fire round at towards the end. And it's more of some questions that you just, whatever comes off the top of your head the fastest, right? And so the first question we have is, what is one detail people remember the most about a great photography experience?
Um,
Don't overthink it.
I'm sorry, what's one experience or one
What's
detail?
detail people remember the most about a great photography experience?
Well, just how you made them feel, remembering their name, just know. I'm sorry, real quick. I had a client literally this past week was saying this is their second maternity shoot, first one they did with somebody else. He was like, "You called me by my name. You didn't just call me dad." So those kind of things is just like makes a memorable experience because he felt important, not just like as a prop, and like kind of things are important for people. So how you make them feel is very important.
Absolutely. And as a dad, I feel like a prop half the time. So good for you, Gricel, for making him feel seen
Yeah.
and heard. Us dads. Anyway, another podcast. If you weren't a photographer, what career do you think you would be pursuing?
Funny you say that. I would look into being a culinary chef.
What? Okay.
I literally was talking to another photographer. She's like, "What the heck? You're such a random person." But other than an engineer, going back into engineering, I would study culinary chef. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. How much cooking are you getting in these days now with kids and everything else going on? It's harder.
Cooking, but I want to try new recipes, and I feel like being Peruvian also like makes you break outside of like the normal. Like I'm also Puerto Rican, so like my Puerto Rican side is very basic. I feel like it's repetitive ingredients. In Peru, it's different. Like you have like all these culinary like ingredients. You have to actually go and shop for them if you're gonna make
Right.
a dish. So that's
Right.
I felt like, oh,
That's true. There's a lot of fusion in Peru, and it's always funny because every time I want to get that little green sauce, and they're like, "Oh no, but you need this," and I'm like, "Where do you even buy that stuff?" Like, I can't go to any old place and get it.
exactly.
So that's a very true point. What's one thing that instantly takes away from a great photo session?
Takes away from a great photo session? I have no idea, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Like what can like just mess it up, or I don't know, just create chaos or friction or something.
I mean, just like tardiness, like that's my only thing. Just not. I'm a very punctual person,
Okay.
and I understand like sometimes like some tardiness is okay. Being like an hour late to a session or something like that, or like at that, yeah, that's just being inconsiderate of someone. But
That-
that's just about it. But I've never really had that happen. I've only had it happen once, and that's it. But I don't really consider anything else. Or maybe like let's say I have someone on my team not show up
Mm,
or no communication on not showing up, that can make because again, I'm thinking about my client's experience. You're making me look bad. So that again, that hasn't happened often, but that's about it.
okay. Fair enough. Last question, and this is not part of the rapid fire. You can answer as you wish. What makes a client the right fit for you?
Mm, the right fit client is someone that loves the moment that they're capturing right now and sees and values the importance of it. It's more than just a photo shoot for them. It's an experience, and they want to feel that that their memories are being captured. So that's the right fit client for me. And then I also feel that they value the artist that's capturing it.
Mm, yes. Right. Yeah. If they don't value what you do, you're gonna feel that. Where can people find you? I know you're a little bit of everywhere. So is Instagram great? Is website great? All of the above.
Obviously Instagram is great at Grisel's Photography. Website is also great, griselsphotography.com. And I am seldom on TikTok, but you will see some videos there. Don't DM me on TikTok. You will be unread there.
Yeah. She will not see it for like a month.
Yeah,
If
probably, if that. So, but on Instagram, I will see it and I will reply to email me.
my God, she'll get around to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I feel you. I'm the same. I'm trying to get my TikTok game up as well. It's once again so many different channels and things to worry about, and we're human. But Gricel, I sincerely wanted to thank you for making some time here today. I am not only grateful, but very understanding of a life as a parent. So this means a little extra. So thank you. Thank you so much for making the time and being part of this show and passion project of mine to hopefully inspire others, help others along the way, whether they're at the beginning of their journey, mid, or maybe even further than us, because I feel like this is a constant journey. We could always be learning, growing, and improving on what we do, and then hopefully also giving back in whatever way we can. So thank you for anybody who has watched or listened in. Be sure to continue to follow us on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify. And of course, we hope to check you guys out on the next one. Peace.